So a couple of years ago, I shared that perhaps the most powerful word in theology is the word with. With. A simple word, a mere conjunction, and yet it captures so succinctly interdependence. One with another, many with many more, doing things with one another. This word captures Unitarian Universalist theology so well because we fundamentally both believe in interdependence and we believe in the practices of interdependence, from the stories we tell to like the one Sarah told, or the one that we talk about where we all come from the same origin source, evolving along a great story to a singular destiny, that we are not separate from any part of the universe. And in the fact that we bring science in, stating that we are connected to the universe atomically, the earth chemically, each other biologically. We hold interdependence as fact, as reality. And that seems like, to me, yes, both the sweet spot. I love when theology and science meet. I feel really grounded then, on very sure ground. And it is still quite a countercultural notion. So think about the number of times when we hear growing up, particularly in American culture or in dominant culture, be independent. Self-reliance is a virtue. Make it on your own. Think about where you're going. And you look up, just look up examples of the word dependence or dependency. One of the most common ones that come up is to be addiction dependent on some chemical or drug, or to rely on others to have one's basic needs met. It seems like dependency in our connotation, in our uses, is a place of weakness and need. Scarcity, where you're in a survival mode. Just like the algae and the fungus, it's only when we're in that place that we're willing to look to another just to keep going, keep life going. In some ways, I see that with our planet now. When we were kind of abundant and we weren't worried about the quality of our air or our water or the safety of our food, we would keep going. But it's only when our own survival is threatened that we actually seem to be caring about this earth upon which we depend. There's a lot of value in thinking about interdependence, and I think it describes a lot. It's highly accurate. But I also think that we could shift things a little bit. Last week, Reverend John preached on gratitude, and I heard how powerfully that resonated with so many of us. And there are other cultures that don't merely recognize interdependence. They shift from that to a recognition of abundance, of moving to a place where they've received in gratitude. Not just mere interdependence, but abundant reciprocity. I want us to practice that, try that on a little bit in a little time of prayer and reflection. And you'll have a response. Let's practice it together. We have received abundantly from the web of life. United, we give humble thanks. I'll cue you. Let us start with the air and sky. We give thanks for this air that fills our lungs, that helps spur the chemical reactions in our body, that help us take one more movement forward, help us think and breathe and live. We give thanks for the clouds in the skies that so beautifully capture the setting sun's colors, and the starry heavens above that have guided our ancestors across seas and lands and mountains and home again. We give thanks for the atmosphere and electromagnetism which holds that air close, like a safe blanket, holding us in. The blanket that protects us, that burns up little comets that are falling as meteors. We give thanks to all that is above us. We have received abundantly from the web of life. We give humble thanks. We give thanks for the water, our planet's circulatory system. For we recognize we thrive on water, we need water. Most of us is water. We are water. We give thanks for the salty seas that mirror our tears, and the freshwater rivers and lakes that bring us life. We give thanks to the depths of the waters that contain mysteries beyond our knowing, to suggest curiosity and horizon and glorious darkness. We give thanks for the rain that falls down, making splashy puddles and watering the plants of the earth. May we give thanks. We have received abundantly from the web of life. United, we give humble thanks. We give thanks for the ground, the rich soil of minerals and life, recognizing all that exists there, composting and churning, earthworms and grubs. We give thanks for the minerals and the gems that bring beauty to our world, the metals that bring strength to our structures. We give thanks for this fertile soil that brings life, green plants and beautiful flowers, trees as tall as redwoods and as strong as cedars. For all that grows, we give thanks. We have received abundantly from the web of life. United, we give humble thanks. We give thanks to life abundant around us. Animals who companion us, who give their life so we may eat, who fill us with wonder and majesty, who hold even better than we do the wonderful circle of life, the necessary biodiversity, be it of the sea, the air, the earth.
Thanks for opening
microbes,
strong,
and basic life, bacteria that we don't even generally acknowledge, but upon which we rely. For all this and more, we give thanks. We have received abundantly from the web of life. United, we give humble thanks. There are some cultures that don't do anything until they have given thanks that way. until they remember how abundantly they've received and how truly connected they are. I was in a place, it was a meeting, and we had had a little worship service to start off with the UU Ministry for Earth. And in that place of deep connection and abundance, I didn't think, how can we save our planet? I thought, what does the earth want in an act of reciprocity? What does the earth desire abundantly? And I listened, and it was asking for soil health, and I thought, how can I help that? What is a small step that I can do to help this earth be verdant again? It is amazing to think, we so often think, what's the basic thing we could do to restore balance? What would it be like to have earth abundant? We're so far from overshooting that we could do all the different things so we could be mutually in balance, to live for each other. And I wonder if we practice this more, if this might also affect how we people are with one another. There's the last line in our covenant is that we covenant to live for one another. And I would say this is maybe the most ambiguous of the lines in the covenant. People ask, what does it mean to live for one another? And by that, we are pointing at interdependence. And the for is really interesting, right? To live, we have a freedom to be for one another, a freedom to give abundantly, a freedom to make decisions that are for the benefit of us all, not because they're required, but because it's as important to be for something as against something. I have a story about this. I grew up in New York City. I have two older sisters. The middle sister is, she had a friend named Allison, went to elementary school with her, middle school with her, and Allison happened to go to my childhood church, All Souls. And Allison, she was there in some bumpy years when the congregation had to vote whether or not to fire its minister. And I'll tell you, when the church is in conflict that way, it's sometimes the most vulnerable people that get overlooked, including the youth. And people stop kind of showing up for the youth and focusing on the value of the youth program. And Allison held that group together because she loved her church. And when Allison was 16, she and her mother went to the doctor's appointment. They had had a lot of tests and scans, and they sat down with this doctor who said, all right, we have the results, and I'm really sorry to say that, Allison, you have a very rare form of cancer, and there's no treatment protocol. And we estimate that you have about a 3% survival rate. And Allison was alone there with her mother because in the last 2 years, her father and her mother's father had died. And facing death yet again, Allison and her mother defied the doctor's recommendation, which was go take Allison home and just love every bit of her in the months you have left. And they said they wanted to live for each other and move through this period of grief. And Allison went back to her church that she had supported so well. And she found there what she needed, a type of healing. You know what she said? It was so beautiful. She said, I turned to a religion with no easy answers. And that's what I needed, because life is not easy, and there's no easy answers to life. And it was beautiful to be in a church that was real about that. And her youth group, some Sundays they would meet in the pediatric oncology unit because they weren't afraid to show up in hard places either. And 150 members of the congregation donated blood, some of which flowed in her veins, giving her a little bit more strength and help. Allison is a minister like me, living to this day. She ran to be the UUA president a number of years ago, Allison Miller. I want to say there is power when we live for one another, when we recognize that what we do and contribute generously, abundantly, in our time and our talents and our blood and our sweat and our monies, makes so much possible. So may we remember to be with and for. May we remember that we are connected, but connected abundantly. May we remember that we're part of this interdependent web of life for which we give thanks humbly. And may this be true for us in this community. May it be so, and amen.